team from the Regional Health and Safety Office carried out an inspection at the McCoy Engineering Limited in Antigua. The team is present to present its findings to the Board of Directors. The Control of Noise at Work Regulation 2005. Upon entering the workplace, the noise level was of such that it was in violation of Control of Noise Regulation, which speaks about the noise at the workplace caused by pneumatic impact tools, explosives, and hammering. It is the role of the employer to introduce reasonable and practicable measures to eliminate or minimize the risk, especially in the mechanical workplace, when pneumatic tools are commonly used. It is the employee's responsibility who will respond by using hearing protection and reporting defects to control the risk. It is recommended by the Health and Safety Executive that the risk assessment be carried out and measures such as using divided walls to separate employees and container noise be used. Secondly, the manual handling operations regulation was in violation. Employees reported sustaining muscular and skeletal spinal injuries due to poultry techniques in the mechanical workshop using violation of such regulation. The employer must as regularly as possible practice the reduced needs of employees partaking in manual activities that carry risks to designated employees. Furthermore, employees must ensure proper usage of machinery and equipment, such as handling aids, especially if they have been provided by the employer. It is the recommendation that proper supervision be done to ensure the right and correct lifting techniques are used, and manual handling are only carried out where there are no other practical safety measures. The Electricity Regulation 1989. Employees report incidents such as shocks from faulty exposed outlets, which is in violation of such regulation. The regulation places several responsibilities on the employer, such as making sure no electrical equipment be used at the workplace without proper.
In the mechanical workshop, there were violations of the Controlled Substances Hazardous to Health 2002 regulation. This regulation covers chemicals, fumes, dust, and gases. At the workshop, it is the responsibility of the employer to ensure hazardous materials are properly identified and that there is proper ventilation at the workshop. It is the employee's role to use proper equipment as provided, such as breathing apparatus, and to also ensure that chemicals are stored away safely. It would be my recommendation as the Health and Safety Inspector that a chemical rule be identified properly and that proper training be carried out for the benefit of workers. Personal Protective Equipment at Work Regulation 1992. My colleague will now present information about the roles of the employee, employer, and the Health and Safety Executive.
Personal protective equipment at work. Protective equipment at work, 1992. Having visited the workplace of McCoy, I have observed employees working without PPE, which is in violation of Personal Protective Equipment Act Work Regulation 1992, which states that such equipment should be provided by the employer. It also the employer's duty to provide training on the use of these equipments. It is the employee's responsibility to understand and use these equipments in the correct manner. As the Health and Safety Inspector, I am recommending that further PPE equipments be provided and more training be carried out for employees, as well as prompt supervision in the use of these equipment. With respect to the Work Time Regulation 1998, my colleagues will now present information about the roles of the employee, employer, and the Health and Safety Executive.
Work Time Regulations 1998. It was reported that workers were being asked to work for long hours without break at the McTech Engineering Limited. This is a clear violation of the Work Time Regulations 1998, which speaks about working workers getting breaks within the 8 hours working period. It is the duty of the employees to establish break periods for his workers. It is the duty of employee to understand the law when it comes to minimum break after working a set period. Example, 20 minutes after 6 hours of work. As the health and safety inspector to operate on a shift basis to ensure maximum production of work from employees. With respect to the lifting equipment operation and lifting equipment regulation 1998, my colleague will now present information about the role of the employer, and the health and safety executive.
Lifting operations and lifting equipment regulations 1998. The employees in the mechanical workshop reported experiencing stress from working in the faulty substandard machinery, which is in violation of the lifting equipment operations and lifting equipment regulations of 1998. It is the employer's responsibility to ensure that when implementing such machineries into workplace to ensure proper and scheduled maintenance are done. He should ensure the machines are capable of efficiently carrying out the work. Employees have an even greater responsibility to ensure that the machines and equipment are used according to the instructors and training. They should all ensure that the proper safety checks and maintenance of machinery are carried out. It is a recommendation that the periodic and through examinations of machines and such proper records, any defaults are required and such machines are replaced or fixed by the qualified technicians.
As a health and safety officer, I found violations in the health and safety regulation. As a health and safety officer, I found violations in the health and safety regulation where there is lack of equipment and medical personnel at the workplace. It's the rule of the employee to at least have one first aid kit or personnel on the site for the employer. The employee should know where the location of the first aid kit as well as the procedures to handle first aid, emergency first aid. It is therefore my recommendation to have adequate training of employees in respect of first aid. I also suggest the area to be identified as a first aid station or room. With respect to Employees Act 2002, my colleague will now represent information about the roles of the employer, and the health and safety executive.
It is by no coincidence the team chooses to end with the Employment Act 2002, where there were reports of management not hiring persons on 25 years and females. This regulation stated that all workers be treated equally no matter age or gender. It is the responsibility of the employer to employ such persons once they could meet the required qualifications of the terms of employment. The person seeking employment, it is their responsibility to be qualified and justify their right to be hired. Females have to be even more vigilant and focused, especially when entering a field of work normally dominated by males. It is our recommendation that a level playing field in respect to hiring persons be applied within the company.